Good evening, good evening. So, tonight, the man of the hour is none other than Dr. Phil Dog the Bounty Hunter, right on the tail of ice. So I wonder how that's working out so far. I hope he's not getting in the way or anything, like, hey man, why are you pulling your weapons? Have you ever thought about just talking to him first? Why are you trying to be so violent? You know what I mean? Um, do you antagonize stuff like this with your wife and kids at home? Uh, I got huffed. I got huffed. I'm not even one damn minute into the show, and I've already gotten huffed. This, man, I suck. Oh, man. Yeah, she was not pleased at all. Oh, man. No, seriously. Dr. Phil, apparently, at least he said he was going to embed himself with ICE for an immigration operation in Chicago. So I find that interesting. I do have an article up on that. If I can get the button to push. Says here, Dr. Phil McGraw said on Sunday that he's embedding with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials as they conduct what federal officials are calling targeted operations to enforce immigration law in Chicago, which, no coincidence, is the first time in a long time that any law has been enforced in Chicago. In a post on X, McGraw said that it's a pretty high-risk mission we're going on. This is truly a targeted ICE mission because most of them are, not supposed to be here. No, because they're not sweeping neighborhoods like people are trying to imply. He said that ICE has identified 270 high-value targets. Let's see, these are known criminals and terrorists, McGraw said. We're talking about murderers, child traffickers, child rapists. We're talking about the bad actors both in the countries they've come from and since they've been here in the United States. Said McGraw. Merritt Street Media planned live coverage on merritttv.com with raids filmed this morning. And I haven't went to go watch. I did watch this.
I'm getting ready to meet with Tom Holman, and we're going to brief what's happening tomorrow, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, go over all the security protocol, because it's a pretty high-risk mission that we're going on. This truly is a targeted ICE mission because they're not sweeping neighborhoods like people are trying to imply. I know that because I've been involved in this heading into this. They've identified 270 high-value targets. And what I mean by that is these are known criminals and terrorists. We're talking about murderers, child traffickers, child rapists. We're talking about bad actors, both in the countries they've come from and since they've been here in the United States. Some of these people have 12, 15 arrest, indictments, some convictions in their home countries and here, but yet they're on the streets. And that's who ICE is targeting to bring out of these communities. So we're going after specific targets, not just sweeping neighborhoods and picking up anyone with a tan, anyone that looks like they don't belong here. Anybody belongs here. One thing I've learned about Tom Holman since I've come to know him, but he's got three objectives. One, close the border, get it under control. Two, get the criminals, the dangerous people out of the communities and off the street. And three, rescue these missing children. There are over 300,000 missing children. Some of them may be with family, that's fine. Let's identify that. Some of them have been trafficked into sweatshops, prostitution, really bad outcomes for these children. So those are the three objectives. And this one that we're working on starting in just a few hours is to get these bad actors off the street, these known violent criminals out of the community. How could anybody disagree with that?
And if you want to see the rest of that, you can check out Merit TV. It says here, McGraw interviewed Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, who was there to observe the operations. ICE released a statement earlier today saying that the agency, along with federal partners, including the FBI, ATF, DEA, CBP, and the U.S. Marshals Service, began conducting enhanced targeted operations today in Chicago to enforce U.S. immigration law and to preserve public safety and national security by keeping potentially dangerous criminal aliens out of our communities. Also joining the operation was Emil Bove, acting Deputy Attorney General, who was personal attorney to Trump, according to the Chicago Office of the Drug Enforcement Administration, per the Chicago Sun-Times. McGraw interviewed Trump during the presidential campaign, aligning with the Trump's contention that he had been unfairly targeted by the justice system. McGraw also spoke at Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden, held less than 2 weeks before the presidential election. So, yada, yada, yada. So I would imagine that they're going to move pretty swiftly on this ICE stuff. It's just a suspicion. I don't think they want to mess around with it too much. I don't. I think they're serious. I think Tom Homan is very serious, and I think he damn well wants that border closed, and I think he's going to get what he wants. I don't think, first of all, I want to back up just a little bit and say that I stand behind no man. I stand behind the Father. That is it. I do not stand behind any man. I would tell people to be incredibly watchful as to what happens, especially in the short term. We got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Crazy talk about these customized, personalized mRNA vaccines. We can't just ignore that. Especially considering who was the father of Operation Warp Speed? Whose baby was that? And as I've said before, Operation Warp Speed could have never happened unless Trump enacted the Right to Try Act that he did immediately after getting into office his first term. Without that Right to Try Act, there would have been a lot more hurdles that they would have had to have passed to be able to use that vaccine with humans. So, how much coincidence do we want to believe in? Well, that's up to you. But I'm starting to see a pattern. The guy that was talking about the blood tests and how they would identify the cancers in our bodies and stuff like that was on video in 2024 talking about these drones, these autonomous drones that would keep an eye on everybody and everything and would even keep the cops in line. Interesting that it specifically mentions that. Even keep the cops in line. Huh. Sounds like a great deal. Uh-huh. And I will go one step deeper into the big pile of crap, and I will say that this is what I'd been telling people about all along with 5G. Everybody was worried about death rays. Everybody was worried about, some crazy stuff. No. It's just capable of sending a hell of a lot more data over the same damn method. So, wirelessly is what I mean by same method. They needed 5G. A 5G network that they could put absolutely every square inch. Because that is how they are going to operate these machines, these autonomous drones and all these other things. This is literally the Skynet that movies were written about. Ain't no joke. So, while I want to celebrate the good things, without a doubt, I mean, hell, they're hauling migrants on out of here. There's countries that are refusing to take them in, and, Trump and Colombia. So I guess they're going to take them in. I think there's a little bit of a dispute yet as to how they're going to make that happen, but, the Colombian president seems a little more willing to talk. So, what's going to happen, nobody knows. There's a hell of a lot of migrants in this country that aren't supposed to be here. There's a hell of a lot of them that have been in trouble, even if it's a little trouble, right? That's still going to put a target on them. And are they going to organize? So keep watchful of stuff like that. I'm really not liking this whole AI thing. I am really not liking it. I mean, I've got to play the devil's advocate. I mean, there is no way that we could sit here and not do AI. Other nations would dominate us in no time. In just about every single way. So is this biting that fruit of knowledge? Is this taking that bite from that apple? And of course, no, because that was a different time period. But are we going too far? Something keeps ding, ding, ding with me. I know that much. Anyway. I mentioned Colombia and Trump and their back and forth. Got an article here on that. Colombia surrenders to Trump. Colombia has bowed to pressure from Washington, reversing its decision to bar flights carrying deported illegal migrants from landing in the country. On Sunday, Colombian President Gustavo Petro announced that he will turn away American military aircraft full of deportees unless the U.S. sets up a protocol for the dignified treatment of migrants. U.S. President Donald Trump quickly reacted by imposing tariffs on Colombian goods and visa restrictions on Colombian officials. Bogota announced later on Sunday that Petro's presidential plane would be sent to pick up Colombian nationals slated for deportation. The government of Colombia, under the direction of President Gustavo Petro, has arranged for the presidential plane to facilitate the dignified return of Colombia nationals who were to arrive in the country today in the morning hours coming in from deportation flights, Petro's office said in a statement. Colombians, as patriots and rightful subjects, were not and will not be banished from Colombian territory, the statement said. In a lengthy post to X on Monday, Petro condemned the coercion from Washington, You can use your economic power and arrogance to attempt to stage a coup d'etat, just like you did with Allende, the president wrote, referring to the CIA-backed 1973 military coup in Chile. And, CIA-backed coup? Imagine that. Which ended with the death of democratically elected President Salvador Allende. But I will die standing by my principles. I've endured torture, and I will endure you, Petroworm. You will never dominate us. He promised to impose tariffs on American goods in response to the economic restrictions from the U.S. Trump, who was sworn in on January 20th, has made the fight against illegal immigration one of the key issues of his election campaign. You know about all that. So, that's funny. He'll never dominate us. Yeah, Colombia, man. They're going to build the biggest military and the biggest bunch of missiles, and they're going to... You give them about 2,000 years, buddy, and they're going to get us. Crazy. Damn, I don't have much news tonight, to be honest. I've got one more story here. I looked through and just picked out a few that was recently discussed. I don't know how I feel about this next story. You guys know that. Again, I try to remain neutral on things. It's not my fight, and the father, plain out said, it's not my fight. So I'm not going to support one side or the other. And I'm speaking about what's going on with Palestine and Israel. What's up, Steve? So anyway, Trump suggests cleaning out Gaza. And talking about Egypt taking on some Gazan people. And I'm not good with that. That's Gaza. That's Gaza. That's theirs. What the hell's left of it? There's not much left of it. It's insane. I don't have a good answer. What is going on is not right. What is going on is absolute horseshit. And it's only possible because countries that have the money, that have the technology, can leak a little bit of this and that into them, and they can keep that trouble stirred up. They don't want peace in the Middle East. It would be so easy. It would be so easy to achieve peace with Israel and with Palestine. Don't let them interact. Don't let them interact. If you are from Israel, then you get over onto the Israeli side before we shut the damn gate. If you're Palestinian, well, you better be on the Palestine side before we shut the damn gate. And then you have troops from international countries making sure that nobody from one side is trying to attack anybody on the other side. Because what the fuck? It's real simple. Israel doesn't have to keep breeding like rabbits. That's their problem. That's not the planet's problem. That's their problem. So if they need more territory, don't know what to say. It's insane. Really, truly is. Anyway, that's my feelings on it. I always got to interject because, man, I'm not good with either side of it. I'm just not. Let's see. U.S. President Donald Trump has suggested that neighboring Arab countries should take in Palestinian refugees and clean out the embattled Gaza Strip. Speaking to journalists aboard Air Force One on Saturday, Trump said that he spoke to King Abdullah II of Jordan over the war and was planning to speak with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on Sunday. "I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people," Trump said. "You're talking about probably 1.5 million people. We just clean out that whole thing. It's a real mess." It's literally a demolition site right now. Almost everything's demolished, and people are dying there, he added. "So I'd rather get involved with some of the Arab nations and build housing in a different location where they can maybe live in peace for a change," Trump told reporters. So moving them off the land. When all of this started, I was saying that this was Israel's objective, and they were not going to stop. And it doesn't matter what side of the aisle the politician's on. They're going to be a lapdog for Israel. Guaranteed. There is some truly messed up stuff. If you haven't seen my video that I put up titled, "Did Biden Trade a Master Mason Freemason Membership for Syria?" You need to check that out. It sounds bizarre, but the facts are there. He was brought into that that lodge, and the Freemasons just populated Syria after Assad was outed. So I tell you what, that got me asking myself a whole load of questions. And I'm probably going to be asking myself questions for a while when it comes to that. Because that's a pretty big damn sign. And now do you realize that Freemasons have control over Damascus? That's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. Let's see. Both Egypt and Jordan have rejected the idea of displacing Palestinians from Gaza. Let's see. Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi affirmed on Sunday that the kingdom's position against displacing Palestinians remains irreversible and unchanged. On Sunday, the Egyptian Foreign Ministry also stressed its commitment to defending the rights of Palestinians and the opposition to uprooting Gaza's population. Around 1.9 million people, or more than 90% of Gaza's population, have been displaced since the war between Israel and Hamas broke out in October 2023, according to the UN. Although the sides agreed to a ceasefire on January 15th, Israel has since accused Hamas of violating a prisoner swap arrangement and halted the return of Gazans to their home in the northern part of the enclave. Both sides have also accused each other of ceasefire violations. On Saturday, Hamas handed over 4 female Israeli soldiers in exchange for the release of 200 Palestinian prisoners. The Israeli government had said Hamas had initially promised to release a different hostage. Hamas took around 250 hostages and killed some 1,200 people during its surprise attack on Israel. You know the story. So, man, Real simple to have peace. It really, truly is. There's bad people in everything. There is not one group of people that is pure. And we have to remember that at all times and make the focus of rooting out the bad people. Even if they're being bad but helping us win, it still doesn't make it right. Man, I really do think that at some point the Middle East is going to light up like nothing else. And this could be, let me see. Let me look at something real quick. Let's, uh-huh. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay, so you got Israel here, Jordan here. Here's Syria. How far away? Okay, that's Iran. I was just looking if that gives them really any advantage, but not so much Iran. It would probably give Russia advantage, but I think Russia would be behind Israel in the end. I do. I could be wrong. But I think a whole lot of people are being fooled by a whole lot of nations. And I think that's just the way it is. I think a lot of them are working together. Wars and rumors of wars. Who knows? Keep an eye on it. See if they make it to where people are just begging and begging, just please stop all of this, just please stop it all. Insane. The heck? Oh. Anywho. I don't have anything else. Really don't. Tired, sore as usual. Dog huffed at me within the first minute of the show. That just threw me all off balance. She just likes to snuggle. She's waiting for bedtime cheeses and snuggles. Oh, man. I know I'm ready. I don't get bedtime cheeses, but I get the 3 butt bump and snuggles. So she's got to do it every night. Got to take her butt and jam it into me 3 times and throw herself on the bed. As tight against me as she can get. It's got to be 3 butt bumps. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Maybe tomorrow night I'll have a little bit more news. Maybe I'll have a little more pep. No promises. Anyway, I'm out of here. I hope you all have a good one. Good night and shalom.